Media on YouTube. It's your guy, Sports Law, broadcasting live from Huntsville, Alabama. This live stream will be the NFL Week 6, my perspective, for games that will take place between October 8th and 14th of 2025. In this live stream, I will go over who is playing for each week. I'll go over like the pertinent information regarding kickoff time, which all times I mentioned will be in Central Time. I will mention who is favored to win the game, and I'll mention over under. And after doing that for each of the games, I'll then go back through and just tell you who I pick to win the game and whether I'm going to go over or under. There's not going to be really that much in the way of detailed analysis now. We could talk about football as we go, but we're just going to do it that way. I'm sorry about the phone going off. I did not mean for that to happen. Anyway, can y'all hear me out there in YouTube land? All right, so on October 9th of 2025, you have Philadelphia versus the New York Giants, 7:15 p.m. Philadelphia is favored to win that game by 7.5 or 8 points. The over-under is 41.5 or 42. On October 12th, we have Denver versus the New York Jets, 8:30 a.m. That game will take place at the Tottenham Hotspur in London, England. The game has Denver favored to win that one by 7.5 or 8 points, and the over-under is 43.5. Arizona versus Indianapolis, noon kickoff. Indianapolis is favored to win by 6.5 or 7 points over Arizona. The over-under is 47.5 or 48. You have the Los Angeles Chargers versus Miami. And in that game, the pros have the Los Angeles Chargers favored to win by 4.5 or 5 points. The over-under is 43.5 or 44. Next, you have New England versus New Orleans. That's a noon kickoff. And in this game, you have New England favored to win by 3.5 or 4 points. The over-under is 45.5 or 46. You have Cleveland versus Pittsburgh, which will have a noon kickoff. And in that, you have Pittsburgh favored to win by 4.5 or 5 points. The over-under is 38.5 or 39. You have Dallas versus Carolina, and that game is a noon kickoff. Dallas is favored to win the game by 3.5 or 4 points. The over-under is 49.5. Hello to you, name I can't pronounce. That's in a foreign language. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. Let's see. Yeah, again, Dallas versus Carolina, noon kickoff. Dallas is favored to win by 3.5 or 4 points. The over-under is 49.5. You have Seattle versus Jacksonville. That's a noon kickoff. Jacksonville is favored to win by the pros by 1.5. The over-under is 46.5. The country I'm in is the United States, and I speak English. I don't understand anything other than English. Hello, Castrotha Don. How are you? In the Cleveland versus Pittsburgh game, Pittsburgh is favored to win the game by 4.5. And 38.5 or 39 is the over-under. I think I went there already. Dallas versus Carolina, just to repeat, noon kickoff. Dallas is favored to win by the pros by 3.5 or 4 points. The over-under is 49.5. You have Seattle versus Jacksonville. That's got a noon. That's a noon kickoff. Jacksonville's favored to win that game by 1.5 or 2 points. 46.5 or 47 is the over-under. I'm doing really good, Castrotha. I do appreciate you joining me, and I am doing well. Yeah. I mean, I'll do the best I can, but, these are just my predictions and stuff. I don't know if it will do any good because, in NFL, there's a lot of parity. The number one team in the country could lose on any given day, and, it's hard to tell with a lot of these games, but I do get what you're saying, though. Next game is the Los Angeles Rams versus Baltimore. That's a noon kickoff. Los Angeles Rams is favored to win that one by 7.5 or 8. The over-under is 44.5 or 45. Next, you have Tennessee versus Las Vegas. That's 3:05 p.m. Las Vegas is favored to win that one by 4.5 or 5. The over-under is 41.5 or 42. You have Cincinnati versus Green Bay, which is 3:25 p.m. kickoff. Green Bay is favored to win that one by 14.5 or 15, and the over-under is 44.5. Very cool from the Shanghai. I'm pleased to see that you're here from Shanghai. And 5-second rule, I'm glad that you're here from Australia. I do greatly appreciate that. Yeah, again, San Francisco versus Tampa Bay, 3:25 p.m. Tampa Bay is favored to win that game by 2.5 or 3 points. The over-under is 47.5. You have Detroit versus Kansas City, which will be the Sunday night football game. That's at 7:20 p.m. Kansas City is favored to win by 1.5 or 2 points, and the over-under is 50.5. You have two Monday night football games for a doubleheader. You have Buffalo versus Atlanta, 6:15 p.m. on October 13th. In that game, Buffalo is favored to win by 3.5 or 4 points. The over-under is 48.5 or 49. And the second game of that doubleheader is Chicago versus Washington, 7:15 p.m. Washington is favored to win by 4.5 or 5 points, and the over-under is 50.5. Also, just a word of note, Minnesota and Houston have a bye week, which means no games are scheduled this week. So, now that I've gone over the pertinent information regarding who is playing, what playing, and what Vegas has to say, I am now going to go over my picks for who I think is going to win the game. So, once we get through with that, we can discuss some things and see what you think. And again, these are just my predictions. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. But this is just from looking and doing some research. This is what I think who is going to be the best fit. So, in the Philadelphia-New York Giants game, which will take place on October 9th, I have Philadelphia winning that game. And the over-under is 41.5 or 42. I'm going over the 42. In the games on October 12th, 2025, going over the 44. Arizona versus Indianapolis, I have Indianapolis winning that one, and I'm going to go under the 48. The Los Angeles Chargers versus Miami game, I have Los Angeles Chargers winning that one, and I'm going over the 44. New England versus New Orleans, I have New England winning that game, and I'm going over the 46. Cleveland versus Pittsburgh, I have Pittsburgh to win that game, and I'm going over the 39. Actually, I thought that number was a little low, but it is what it is. In the Dallas versus Carolina game, I have Dallas to beat Carolina, and I'm going under the 50. Seattle versus Jacksonville, I have Seattle winning that one against the odds. I think Seattle will beat Jacksonville, and I'm going under the 47. The Los Angeles Rams versus Baltimore, I have the Los Angeles Rams winning that one, and I'm going over the 45. Tennessee versus Las Vegas, I have Las Vegas to win that game, and I'm going over the 42. Cincinnati versus Green Bay, I have Green Bay winning that one. Now, they say Green Bay is going to win by 15 points. I don't agree with that. I think it'll be like 8 or 9, but I don't think it'll be by 15. I'm going to go over the 45. San Francisco versus Tampa Bay, I have Tampa Bay winning that one, and I'm going under the 48. Detroit versus Kansas City, I have Kansas City winning that one, and I'm going under the 51. Well, thank you. I appreciate you listening to me. I do appreciate that very much. Again, these are just my picks, and I did do some research and stuff. I try to do the best I can with it. I can be right sometimes. I can be wrong sometimes. But I do it as a means of having fun, and I hope everybody else does too. So, on the Monday Night Football games, you have Buffalo versus Atlanta. I'm going to go Buffalo, and I'm going to go under the 49. And the Chicago versus Washington game, I have Washington beating Chicago, and I'm going under the 51. Again, Minnesota and Houston do not have any games scheduled this week. So, yeah, Minnesota and Houston have no games scheduled this week. They are bye weeks. In regard to your question, you went out on Detroit. Let's see, Detroit. Yes, I think that, I mean, Detroit is good, but Kansas City has been struggling in ways that I haven't seen before. But that game is one of those parity games, and it could literally come down to who has the football at the very end of the game. And plus, when the pros make a prediction that states 1.5 or 2, or if it's even less than that, that literally means that the game is too close to call, and they had to literally pick someone in order to win it, because of how close it's going to be. And it means that they had a hard time with that. And generally, when I'm making my thoughts on games like that, it means I also have trouble with making my decision on that. So, yes, I went against Detroit because I think Kansas City is better than Detroit. So, yeah, I'm going against Detroit on that one. I'm going to have Kansas City for the reasons I just mentioned. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding NFL games? I hear what you're saying on the Detroit thing, but why do you think Detroit is better than Kansas City, if you don't mind me asking? Why do you think Detroit's better than Kansas City? I mean, I value your opinions and stuff. It's not going to change my thoughts on who I think is going to win that game, but I'm very much interested in why you think Detroit is better than Kansas City this week. Also, while I have a second, normally, I know last week I did this NFL stream on Sunday morning before the game started, but it didn't really generate much in the way of result as I was hoping. So we're back to doing it on Tuesdays. We're going to do it Tuesday of the week in question. That way I have a chance to at least give an idea of all the games that's being played. Over or under on Detroit? Let's see. What did I go on that? I went under on the 51. On the Detroit Kansas City game, I went under on the 51. So, sorry on the Detroit. Sorry, I went out on that. So, Kansas City and Detroit are playing each other this week, and I favor Kansas City to defeat Detroit. The pros have Kansas City defeating Detroit by 1.5 or 2 points, and I went for Kansas City. The over-under was 50.5 or 51, and I'm going under the 51 on that game. So, sorry about that. I didn't mean to lose volume there. So, also, real quick, just to let you know, we will be doing these live streams for the NFL regarding picks for NFL through the NFL regular season. I'm not sure how we're going to do the playoffs yet, but I'll figure that out and let you know as soon as it gets there. There will also be a special-based live stream for the Super Bowl regarding analysis and whatnot for the Super Bowl, but that's, again, coming up later on down the line. I'm not sure how we're going to do the playoffs or Super Bowl, but I'll figure that out as we go. But for the time being, these NFL streams will be going on once a week during the regular season. So you want Charlotte and Arizona. Charlotte and Arizona, what do you mean? Are you talking about for college? Because this is an NFL-based stream. Let's see, Arizona. I have Arizona versus Indianapolis, and that's the NFL game. In the Arizona-Indianapolis game, That game has Indianapolis favored to win by 6.5 or 7. The over-under is 47.5. And in that game, Arizona versus Indianapolis, I went with Indianapolis and under the 48. But this is an NFL one. I don't have the college information right now. Now, I did do a college football stream, but that's a separate stream, and I don't have that information in front of me right now. So, okay, so you want the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay. Let's see. Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers versus Miami. The Los Angeles are favored to win the game by 4.5 or 5 points. The over-under is 43.5 or 44, and I'm over on the 44. And I have the Los Angeles Chargers defeating Miami. I'm sorry if you couldn't hear me on that. I know you're probably writing down some of my notes, and that's cool. So, did that help, Castrata? Anyway, while I've got a second, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell so you can be made aware of when I'm doing these live streams regarding NFL football, when I have breaking news, when I have sports action videos, when I have sports education videos, again, when I broadcast live, or when I have breaking news in the sports world. You can also subscribe to my channel. It would be greatly appreciated. You can do so by going to www.youtube.com, the slash symbol, the at symbol, SPORTSLOV, or you can go to Sportslov Media on YouTube. That's two words, SPORTSLOV as the first word, media as the second word, MEDIA. You'll know it's me because I have a basketball with Sportslov Media burned into the basketball as my avatar. I'm also on Twitter X, and my handle there is at BobAmin16. That is the at symbol, BOBAMIN 16. No problem. I don't, I'm sorry if my voice was, cut out of the stream. I try not to do that the best way I can, but these NFL live streams will take place on Tuesdays. Now, each week, the time in which that takes place could vary depending on what else is going on, but it will be going on at some point during the day, and generally I will try to announce ahead of time when on Tuesday they will be. Last night, there were some things that were going on, and I knew that I was going to have to do the live stream early this morning, so I made the announcement about 12 hours beforehand. Normally, when I make the announcement, it's on my dashboard, and it's normally within 3 to 5 hours of the time when I'm going to go live. So when I give you that window, that's the window that I'm going live, but I still might not know specifically when I'm going live, but just know that when I give you a window, say if I say it's going to go live in X amount of hours, within the time from the time that the post went out and then the time that I said, that's when the stream will start. So, I try to do these consistently, and I try to do them at the same time each week, but sometimes because of just life in general, it makes it to where I am not able to do that, consistently every week. Like this week it was early, next week it might not be until later in the day, but it just depends on what's going on at that time. So, any other questions or comments regarding the NFL? Yeah, just being funny, but if you want to know who the NFL coaches are and stuff, I normally don't do this, but Jimmy Fallon did a video with his Roots band, and it's a rap that Jimmy Fallon did, and it introduces who the coaches are by their first names. So if you want to know who the coaches are, you can check that video out. But, again, that's on you if you want to do that. But, I normally don't plug people like that, but there's exception for things. So, anybody else have any questions or comments for this stream? I was also going to mention there may be other live streams that may include sports action stuff going on within those live streams. And when those special live streams occur, I'll also announce as best I can ahead of time when those will be happening. I may not be able to do it all the time because some things just happen and you go live when you can. But I know there will be some other special live streams regarding sports action and or other things on top of what I've already told you about. So just stay tuned for the announcements on that. If there's nothing else regarding the NFL, I do thank you for joining me today for this live stream. I do greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for joining in today. I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful day. So, Sports Live Media signing out. Have a great day.